series of one-play battles all game long, man. Win your battle each and every play, one play at a time.
Rodgers under pressure, lofts it right side. Jimmy Graham, touchdown! Oh, what a play by Aaron Rodgers!
That's what I do. Let's go. Know my name.
It takes everybody. We all making plays.
Cousins on a deep drop, and it's caught. Touchdown!
Hey, bro, I'm rolling now.
Kurt looked good out there.
Hey, it's time to go have some fun now.
Rodgers takes it himself. He's in the end zone. Touchdown.
5 touchdowns. And the old man ran for one.
Well, NFC playoff picture, come and get it. Rams and Eagles, we're talking to you because Philly, what you need this week is you need a win. As for the Rams, a loss or a Vikings W, it dashes all of those hopes. And as for Minnesota, well, let's check in with Tom Pelissero. He's an Eagan with the very latest. Tom, take it away.
Vikings running backs Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison did not practice again on Friday. Cook continuing to deal with an SC joint sprain and a left shoulder injury, while Mattison's working his way back from an ankle injury that sidelined him a week ago. At this point, Cook is a long shot to play on Monday against the Packers. Coach Mike Zimmer more optimistic about Mattison. My understanding is his status may not be determined until game day. That means you may see a lot of Mike Boone, who was undrafted out of Cincinnati a year ago, signed for a $7,500 bonus, and really hadn't played much on offense till he came in and scored 2 touchdowns last week against the Chargers. When his numbers called, Boone told me, I just try to not let there be a drop-off.
The impeccably dressed Tom Pelissero, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's detail Packers and Vikings when it comes to their clinching scenarios for Week 16, if you don't mind. Now Green Bay, they'll lock up the NFC North with a W. As for the Vikings, they'll clinch a postseason berth with a win or a Rams loss. So that got us to thinking. TD, can you give the folks at home a winning game plan for Kirk in Minnesota?
Of course I can, Cole. Listen, there's 2 things that the Vikings have to do. They're pretty simple here. Number 1, they've got to run the rock. 3 of their 4 losses this year, they failed to reach the 100-yard mark on the ground. They lost those games. And with Cook out, with Mattison probably out, it's going to rely on Mike Boone. Last week, he had a really good game against the Chargers. His numbers were good. He had 2 touchdowns. And so he's got to come in there and pick up that running game to take some pressure off Kirk Cousins. Number 2, Cousins has to protect the ball. The last time they played the Green Bay Packers, he turned the ball over 3 times, 2 interceptions and 1 fumble. If he can stay clean in this game, the Minnesota Vikings have a chance to beat the Green Bay Packers. Back to you, Cole.
Run the rock from the Hall of Fame running back. Surprise, surprise. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's getting ready to potentially end the Rams' postseason hopes. A win over Los Angeles, that would end a Los Angeles playoff run. Meanwhile, at 11-3, Jimmy G in San Francisco, currently occupying the NFC's 5th seed. Now, Week 16's meeting with the Rams, of course, laying the Week 17 groundwork for their matchup with Seattle. But first things first, Steve Wyche, he has the latest ahead of Saturday. Steve.
When the 49ers beat the Rams in Week 6, the Rams were without running back Todd Gurley, and the 49ers were without both starting tackles Joe Staley and Mike McGlinchey. All of them will be on the field for the key showdown Saturday night, as will for the 49ers wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders and the Rams cornerback Jalen Ramsey, 2 key additions acquired in trades. Now, for the 49ers, they are playing for home field advantage and the top seed. I spoke to players this week, and they said they really want to get the bye after the regular season. Their regular season bye came in Week 4. They are banged up. They want the rest before things get real. And for the Rams, they are simply playing for their playoff lives. Plus, players told me they were embarrassed the way they performed last week against Dallas. They want to reestablish their mojo.
Steve Wyche, thank you, sir. Now, 2018 seems like it's light years away, especially for Sean McVay and company when it comes to Week 16 elimination scenarios for the Rams. Well, they'll be out of the postseason running with a loss or a Minnesota win, don't you know? So, Marcel, can the Rams keep hope alive and get a win versus San Francisco?
To keep it short, Cole, no, I don't think so. Because, listen, the San Francisco 49ers are best at what Jared Goff has the biggest trouble with, and that is getting pressure on the quarterback. The 49ers defense haven't let anyone down all year. They get pressure on the quarterback. They tackle well. And secondly, the Rams, you just can't trust what they're doing right now. Their secondary has been playing well for San Francisco, and Jared Goff's just going to have a tough time.
Pressure makes diamonds. It also busts pipes. Also, after the break, we're talking Ravens and Browns. So can Lamar hold on to that top seed and also avenge his worst loss all season. And we're also going to talk Steelers and Jets. Can Pittsburgh hold on to that 6th seed? Can Lev Bell silence those critics? Answers to burning questions. Well, if notable Week 16 matchups are your thing, then lo and behold, you came to the right place, because the playoff implications, there's plenty of them. There's 8 divisional games, 6 contests between non-eliminated teams, and 4 games between squads who have winning records. And like Usher Raymond once said, time now to let it burn, because it is time for burning questions of the Week 16 variety. And we will start with some 1, 2, 3 punches. Uno, dos, tres. TD, when it comes to the better set of triplets on Sunday. Of course, we know that there's a potent pack with those Saints in Breeze, Thomas, and Kamara. But how about the Titans? They have Tannehill, Henry, and Brown. Who's going to be better?
Well, I'm going with the Saints here because, number one, I'm just saying that because, number one, I will never go against Drew Brees. Drew Brees and Tannehill matchup, I'm picking Drew Brees in that one. But number 2, Derrick Henry, not sure about his health. Remember, he had that hamstring injury. Is he going to be healthy? But then you got Michael Thomas on the other side, too. So, Kamara, this might be the game he breaks out, because we haven't seen him break out all season long. I'm picking this triple over here.
Made mention of Derrick Henry's health, but TD, not one to gossip, so you didn't hear that from him. Now, Marcel, when it comes to the Texans, they're taking on Tampa Bay, but which team will we see? Will it be the Texans squad that got smoked versus Denver, or the team that put up 53 Week 5? What do you think?
Well, I'm looking for the Texans to continue to be explosive on offense, hit their stride right now with so many playoff implications going on in the AFC. Texans hitting their stride against this Tampa Bay defense. Now, listen, a little nugget for you. Jameis Winston has been throwing the ball for a ton of yards and touchdowns, but he's also been giving the ball away. The average starting field position for opposing teams against the Buccaneers is the 30-yard line. Going against that Texans offense, that's scary for the Buccaneers.
And Jameis Winston, the only quarterback in the history of the National Football League to throw for 450-plus yards in back-to-back games. No one's ever done that.
Say something, Jameis.
Just famous Jameis. Oh, how about this one? Arizona taking on Seattle. When it comes to running backs, TD, I know that's your wheelhouse. Which back's going to put up more yards? Is it Kenyon Drake or C-Double? Chris Carson.
I love Chris Carson. I do. I like that man because he is he's a bowling pin. I mean, a ball. He's a guy that loves to run through tackles. But Kenyon Drake last week, the man had 4 touchdowns.
Come on now.
He's on fire, and he's a guy that you can put all over the place. He catches the ball out of the backfield. In a game like this, I'm going with Kenyon Drake to beat out Chris Carson.
Kenyon Drake was so on fire that he set that bottom line in flames. You see it right there. Someone get a fire extinguisher after this. All right, Week 4, we know Marcel. Cleveland, well, they beat Baltimore, and boy, was it a beating, 40-25. So can the Browns, can they finish the task and complete that season sweep? What do you think?
Listen, I hope the Browns enjoyed that early win against Baltimore, because this week they have no chance.
Okay.
No chance right now. And it's nothing against Cleveland. But I will tell you, the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson and company have been playing lights out against anybody and everybody. And this week, they're going to continue on doing that.
All right, speaking of continuing, let's do the same, because TD, the Bears, they're welcoming those Kansas City Chiefs to town. So what do you think? Can they play spoiler and dash the Kansas City hopes of locking up that first-round bye? What say you?
I say no, Cole. I say no. And here's why. If you want to beat the Chiefs, you've got to score some points. Out of the 4 losses they've had this season, 3 of the teams have scored over 30 points. The only team that didn't do it was the Colts. But remember, the Colts sucked the life out of the game. They held the ball for like almost 40 minutes. So in a game like this, where I don't think the Bears can put up enough points, they would not upset the Kansas City Chiefs in this game.
Okay, so the Bears hoping to delay that first-round bye for Kansas City and make them have to lock things up Week 17. All right, last but not least, Lev Bell. When it comes to 100-plus rushing yard games this season, how many does he have? As many as I do.
Oh,
he has 0. So Pittsburgh at New York, it's a revenge game. So how does he go above 100 yards, Marcel?
I think he does it. He has to do it. Listen,
he has to.
The New York Jets coaching staff, feed Lev Bell. Feed this man. He needs it. He needs it for the season. He needs it for confidence. Your team needs it. Just feed him. Allow him to run all over the Pittsburgh Steelers and see what happens when you feed him the ball.
Okay, well, it's the first time he's going to play against his old team.
Gotta get
they signed him to that extremely lucrative deal in the offseason. Now, as you may know, Hines Ward, he's an offensive assistant with Gang Green, and he was quoted by the New York Post. Here's what he said: "It will be special for me. I want to beat the Steelers just as much as anybody in this building. I'm telling my guys they got to win this one for me. I want the Gatorade shower and all that if we win." So more on a potential thirst-quenching shower. Here's Aditi Kinkawala with the latest.
Mike Tomlin said he wanted to give undrafted rookie quarterback Duck Hodges a chance to rebound after Sunday's 4-interception performance. Well, rebound is what Hodges did this week, his teammates say. Veteran center Marquise Pouncey said he came out to practice flinging the ball Wednesday and that he's thrown guys open all week. Pouncey said that Hodges displayed all the confidence that won him the job a few weeks ago. Now, the Steelers are certainly hoping that they can help him with more of a run game. Against the Bills, they carried the ball just 15 times. Against the Jets Sunday, Pouncey said they'll need to do that more. The Steelers are also hoping some help will come from Juju Smith-Schuster. He practiced fully all week, and although he said he'll be a game-time decision come Sunday, he told me, "I'm hoping I can play."
Thank you very much, Aditi. Hamstrings and shoulders, well, wreaking havoc league-wide. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Josh Jacobs, all three of the aforementioned out. And take note, all you fantasy managers, playing for some hardware this weekend. And if you need some last-minute advice, sounds like a job for the Fantasy Live crew. Here they are.
Hello, potential fantasy champions. Congratulations on making it to your final game. How about some final strategies for championship week here, Fabs?
Yeah, first off, everyone on your roster has to serve a purpose. Either you're starting them or you're blocking your opponent from potentially getting them. So say, for example, Rashad Perriman's out there, right? Your opponent has Julian Edelman. Bad matchup this week. Maybe that opponent will pick up Perriman. Well, do it before they have an opportunity. He's the #1 wide receiver for the Bucs.
What kind of game are we looking at here, Sim?
Well, Jameis Winston has been a little bit banged up in the practice report. So just to kind of anticipate 5 or 6 catches between 60, 70 yards and a touchdown.
All right, let's move over to a interesting running back situation here with the Vikings. Alexander Madison, Dalvin Cook didn't practice today. So what does that mean for a guy like Mike Boone?
Mike Boone could end up being an RB2 in a best-case scenario this week against the Green Bay Packers. So say you're rolling with David Montgomery, for example, or maybe a James White. You could potentially play Boone this week if both Cook and Madison are inactive.
I have him somewhere in the 70s. Now, that's assuming the other guys aren't playing, so 70 scrimmage yards and a potential rushing touchdown.
All right, how about DeAndre Washington for the Raiders, who treated fantasy owners when Josh Jacobs was out a couple of weeks ago? Will he do the same?
Yeah, over 20 fantasy points. I don't know that he's getting there again against the Chargers, but again, either you're going to pick him up to block your opponent or potentially start them because the volume will be there.
The volume will be there, but the Chargers are a little bit better against the run than they looked last week, so I would be careful. Limited there, a little bit lower upside for him, 60s, something like that.
And be sure to join us Monday for our final NFL Fantasy Live show of the season, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right before NFL Total Access.
Now, Nicole Lynn's journey from poverty to NFL agent is a symbol of hope and inspiration for young women everywhere with aspirations of making an impact in roles traditionally dominated by men. Now, in this installment of Gaining Greatness presented by Sleep Number, we get an inside look at the life of an NFL agent who is paving the path for the next generation of our great game.
Hey, where can I find the West VIP entrance? I'm trying to get on the field. Did you hear him ask if I was a girlfriend? He said, are you a player's wife? And I was like, no, I'm an agent. They have female agents? And it's like, they do. Shocking, I know, but they do.
Some of the first pieces of advice I got as an agent was to just blend in. Just blend in. And that might have been the worst advice I have ever gotten. Because if I blend in, then I am never creating a real path for the women that come behind me. And so I've made, again, deliberate decision not to cover and to be exactly who I am. And so that person is a woman that wears 5-inch heels and red lipstick on the daily. And that's what I'm going to look like at the combine. That's what I'm going to look like on the sideline of a football game if I choose to. It's critical that I make people comfortable with what feminism is in sports, whether it's in sports or it's in the workplace. Be who you are so that when the person that is very similar to you comes behind you, it's 10 times easier.
Nicole is not just changing perceptions, she's also changing lives as well by helping athletes and entertainers achieve their dreams, become impactful in their communities, and build life skills that will benefit their careers long term. After the break on NFL Total Access, doesn't matter how high you turn up the Niners highlight reel.
Feels great, baby!
You are not going to hear the name of the guy who may just be the most important person on this team. But you know what? It's about time you did.
The fullback breaks the tackle. Breaks it down there.
That's next.